welcome to The Sinner and the Saint. I'm Melissa Bell.
And I'm Allison Kane.
So I have this conundrum. I'm in the middle of packing, getting ready to leave to go watch my son graduate from boot camp. And it's so hard to know what to wear.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yes. I mean, it's not anything you've ever done before.
Right. And what is everyone else wearing? And also, I'm going to be in 90-degree weather and also be sitting on metal bleachers. And anyway,
we'll see. Like a roll book or a book for this?
Pinterest has everything, but it is all over the gamut.
Oh.
It's like, basically wear whatever the heck you want.
Huh. I bet you'll see people in everything.
Yeah.
Depending on the family.
So I think I have a classy-ish outfit, not like, mayor's wife outfit, but more like, I'm on a nice little stroll in a, I don't know, long skirt, nice blouse, but then I put
Classy and breezy.
Classy and breezy, yeah. But then I put on this hat because, I'm fair-skinned, and so it's like red, white, and blue. And my husband was like,
You can save that for the after party.
Yeah, like maybe you just took it a little too far.
Well, speaking of that, there's so much dignity in what we wear. How we appear to other people and that sort of thing. That really speaks to that. And I've been thinking a lot about dignity.
Okay.
And how we live with more self-respect and dignity. And I was in Matthew 10, 29 through 31, and it says this: "What's the price of a pet canary? Some loose change, right? And God cares what happens to it even more than you do. He pays even greater attention to you, down to the last detail, even numbering the hairs on your head. So don't be intimidated by all of this bulky talk." I love that.
Bulky talk.
"You're worth more than 1,000,000 canaries."
Aww.
I know. I love the message. I mean, we say that all the time.
What was the address again?
Matthew 10, verse 29 through 31.
Okay.
And I love that. I'd been talking to some young girls recently, 20s, and trying to articulate how much they're loved by God. And this, "you're worth more than 1,000,000 canaries," just really stuck out to me. So I just started thinking about dignity and how can we live with a deeper sense of dignity and who we are in Christ. And then what does that look like?
Okay, so first of all, I'm kind of a word nerd, and so I think we use words and we don't 100% know what they mean.
100%.
I felt like I had to look it up.
Good, yes.
So I'm going to give just a couple definitions. So dignity is the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. And then it says a sense of pride in oneself, self-respect. And then a phrase that is used for this is stand on one's dignity, which means insist on being treated with due respect.
Oh.
And for me, I think we all probably fall into one of those. You know what I mean? And I did not grow up feeling any dignity, right? And it wasn't until much later, way too late, to decide or even start to fight or understand dignity. And then it's one thing to understand your worth and another thing to fight for your worth, which you and I were just talking about before we got on. So I love we're having this conversation for whomever, but this is what we would tell ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
25 years ago, 30 years ago.
I love that honor and respect. We don't have to earn that. I think we get a little confused sometimes and misguided from the world or whatever. We don't have to earn that. We should always be treated with honor and respect. Everyone.
I will say it's harder growing up not having it to understand what it is and then to think that you deserve it.
Right.
As someone who has had a hard time. You've watched me have a hard time.
Well,
you've encouraged me to do it differently. So, yeah.
And even me growing up in a home where I was taught this, when you make mistakes or something goes wrong or you haven't lived up to things just so, or you can start to believe, well, I messed up so badly, or I made such a bad choice, or I hurt that person so deeply that I don't deserve to
Right.
be treated kindly. And we can do that to ourselves. And so, I don't really want to focus too much on this first part. I really want to dig into the living examples of it, because again, it's kind of this convoluted idea of how do we do that. And so we can begin to live with more dignity and self-respect when we're speaking to ourselves the way God would speak to us, which is a really, really great question to ask yourselves. If you don't know that answer, that's in the scriptures. You can put your name in any scripture, and that will just penetrate your heart. But another thing is, when you say something to yourself, if you will stop and just say, is that something God would say to me?
Oh.
Because half the time it is not in my mind. And it's like, okay, then I need to stop that.
Right.
But it's beginning to notice and then put a little spotlight on that, and then ask the question, and then basically white it out. Mm-hmm. Get your white, your white out.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week, and that's the lies that we tell ourselves that we start to believe.
Yes.
And, you could have heard something, someone could have called you a name. As much as we say, names will never hurt us, that's a lie.
Right.
And so what things do you call yourself when you look in the mirror? What do you say to yourself? Mm-hmm. That's one of my things. What do I say to myself when I look in the mirror? What's my response?
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to do an activity back in the day at some of my conferences where I would give everyone a board that they were going to paint on. Uh-huh. And they would take a red marker or a black marker, and they would write all the names that they think about themselves, bad things, and that people have called them, or sins they've committed, and then we would cover it with paint and then make something beautiful on top of that.
That's awesome.
Because and then they have that to take home.
You should bring that back.
I should. Sometimes, it's like, okay, everybody's done that. We need something new.
Oh, it's a new era, baby.
I think also treating others with dignity helps us reset our own. I mean, if you think about it, sometimes it's easier to treat others with dignity more than it is ourselves, which is crazy. But that practice of treating others with dignity, hopefully we get better at loving ourselves like we love others.
I love that. I think, it's said that we can sometimes extend more grace to other people than we do to ourselves, right? And I think you either fall into very opposite sides of that camp. Either you know how to give everybody grace, but don't give yourself grace, or you give yourself a lot of grace and give nobody else nothing.
That's right. That's so true. Wherever you fall.
That's right.
Take note. And then this practicing of reflection. I mean, we talk about meditation a lot, but just taking time to be still and notice and give gratitude. A lot of times when there's a lot spinning in our brains, we refuse to be still because we do not want to be with our thoughts.
I scrubbed the house top to bottom on Monday.
The silence is terrifying.
Yeah.
The sitting, the listening, the reflecting is too much. But asking God in those moments, where is dignity lacking in my life? And recognizing it and writing it down, writing out where there is goodness in our lives. That is a great practice. Your strengths, your accomplishments, we all have those. I mean, God made us. And this is hard.
Yeah, it's hard to give yourself credit for what you've done, because then, you'll say, oh, well, look at me bragging, or look at me. It's like, brag on God.
Right.
God, look at what you did through me. I'm so excited. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of that.
Exactly. Because dignity isn't about being perfect, okay? No perfect here. Or prideful. That's not what living with dignity, it's not those other two things. It's about living basically with an anchored confidence in your worth and your value as a child of God.
I will plug really quick our journal, because our journal talks about this. Like, it is the attributes that God gives to us, and it goes through verses, and it's a really great, maybe a great summer study. So you guys drop into our store and we can ship one off to you. Go on Amazon. They'll ship one to you. Just a great reminder of who you are as a child of God and being a child of God and what that means for you. And it's one thing to know it, but another thing to believe it and live it. That's like layer upon layer.
It's true. And the cool thing about that journal, I mean, just to say, is that it slows you down on each one and you spend time on that particular attribute for the whole week.
Yeah.
Allowing it to just kind of sink in and slow down, and it creates space for you to meditate and just ponder.
And maybe see where the holes are. Like, I don't believe that I'm loved. Well, where did that come from?
Right.
Yeah.
And ask the hard questions. Well, what I want to spend the rest of our time together on is how dignity, some living examples of how we can live with dignity and how it shows up in our small daily choices. Because it's like, all right, that seems really hard. I got to buy a journal. I got to spend some time in reflection. Like, I need some baby steps. And there are so many little things that you can do if you're stuck and if you're having a hard time with this right now. I mean, the first and most easiest thing you can do is when you wake up every day, make your bed.
I'm so glad you said that.
You've loved this.
I love making your bed. I tell all my kids, go make your bed. And our parents made us do it, but it's kind of a thing of the past, right?
Well, my dad, they always said, this is what starts your day. You need to, this is how you want to leave your space. They made mine a little more psychological, so I would do it, I think.
Right. That is good. Good for your dad.
So I could understand it. But he was a military man. So.
That's right. Yeah. I love, and then you start your day saying, well, look at me. I am tidy.
Yeah. And here's the thing. When you make your bed, no one else is going to see it. For the most, unless you're having company over and you're going to have a party in your bedroom.
Right? And we don't want to know about
that. Or it's off the kitchen and everybody can look in. But no one else is going to see this all day, but you know. And it's an act of honor that you're doing for yourself.
You deserve a nice, clean, straight place to come into, right?
Yeah. Start your day with purpose and clarity, and just tidying up your room and maintaining that space goes a long way.
I would say I used to be one of those people, I'm kind of a natural person. I don't love a ton of makeup. But I would get into the habit of just like throwing my hair up, don't worry about makeup. But then I felt, because I didn't feel put together, that it would make me just present myself to the world. I just was a little bit, I would say, 5 degrees down, so to speak, right? And so just doing what makes you feel good, not for other people, but for you.
Yes, during COVID, I put on makeup every day.
Yes.
I don't wear a ton of makeup, but and people are like, what? I was like, heck yeah.
Yeah.
I got up, I put on clothes, I got my makeup, it was awful. So at least I was going to feel good about, when you're sick.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to get up, get showered, and get dressed so you feel like a human.
That is exactly someone, because I was sick last week and someone said, you just get up and get a shower.
Yeah.
And put your makeup on. And then
it changes your mindset.
It does. And y'all think this sounds crazy. I hear you. I was that person too. Try it.
Yes, exactly. Yes, try it. And I think saying no to things or goodbye, to people, that it could be a small thing. Someone could ask you to dinner and you may not, don't do it not because you're feeling like, oh, they don't really want to hang out with me or something like that. But if it's not someone that you want to go to dinner with, or it seems like an easy yes, but it's not something that you want to do, say no.
I love that. I love that. I also think there is dignity in realizing you could sit at that table, but you don't want to sit at that table. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
You want to be invited to that party. You were invited to that party, but that's not who you are, and so you're choosing not to go to that party.
That's a big step.
And I think sometimes we get so focused on what it is that we think we want that when we get there, we stay there because we wanted it so bad, but you've changed.
Right.
Like, you've advanced, you've, evolved, and that's not where you want to be anymore. You've done that. Check. Move on.
That's so true. I think saying no or saying goodbye into relationships, it could be a girlfriend or it could be, whoever, a boyfriend, but that shame you or put you down, guilt you into doing things, make you feel less than, try to control you.
Oh, and the little snide stuff that they do, right?
Passive aggressive.
The passive aggressive. And you know what? You have to kind of pay attention to how you feel when you're around this person. Are you excited to go see this person, right? And sometimes you're excited to see the person, but it's just a hard time in life. That's different. But does this person wear you out? How do you feel when you leave? Do you feel like you've been put down? Do you hear them saying things? Like, sometimes I'll leave a conversation, I'll be like, oh, that was not nice that they said that. You know what I mean? In the moment, you just, whatever, brush it over because maybe you couldn't wait to get to that little friend group. And then you realize, ooh, this isn't actually who I am.
Right. I think noticing that and taking those steps. We talked about clothes. That is another, how we dress is important. I mean, it can, what we choose to wear reflects our worth. And your self-respect. How do you go out in public? Again, that wraps into makeup or just even throwing on a pair of earrings.
Oh gosh, pajama pants, guys, please. Can we leave the pajama pants at home?
Yeah.
My kids know, do not walk out of the house in pajama pants. You are going nowhere. I will take you nowhere like that.
Yeah. Unless you're going for a medical procedure.
Right. My son just played 7-on-7 this season. There were people wearing pajama pants on the football field.
Yeah, that doesn't do it for me.
Anyways, I know that's kind of a trend thing, guys, but it's not good. I'm trying to work on this myself. I'm actually cleaning out a lot of clothes out of my drawers because I love comfy clothes. I love worn out clothes. They're so comfortable.
They are.
So then I grab them and I wear them. And then it's like, well, how are you presenting yourself? That's not who you are.
Right.
And it's not like a dig on the clothes, but like, you're better than that.
I just feel, of course I wear workout clothes to go work out, but every day, even if I only have one thing to do,
yeah,
I want to put on something nice.
Oh, girl, you always look good.
And it's really not for other people. I just feel bad. You know me, I don't wear t-shirts.
Right.
Unless I'm sweating.
Yes.
And working out. Like, I just don't wear t-shirts on the daily, anywhere. Unless it's like a cute one with a V-neck and a pocket that's like,
She's very specific.
Very specific. Anyway, and it's just really about me because it helps me feel more confident. And I feel like I'm living or walking out with more dignity and self-respect. Like, that's a me thing.
Right. I love that. And you guys have to figure out what that is for you. But if you go out and you kind of feel slimish, right? Or you interact with the world differently when you feel good about the way you're dressed.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And people can tell. People pick up on how you're feeling, whether you say it or not. I think asking for help is a big one. When you're trying to live with dignity. Mm-hmm. Knowing that, it's not out of weakness, but for support. Like, I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I was going to say, I don't know why people don't ask for more help. I do know why. Because people are used to being shamed or guilted or put down.
Or they're prideful
or they're just embarrassed or whatever. But living with dignity means asking for help. Like, hey, how should I handle this situation?
We just had this conversation before we went on the air. I was like, okay, this is coming up. Help me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's dignity. That's self-respect. Like, we are not supposed to be perfect, and that's okay. And we don't need to be prideful. We just need to know our worth and stand up for it. And then again, I cannot reiterate this enough. Figuring out how to spend some daily time in reflection with God and asking some deep questions. So I'm just going to throw a few out there. And that you could write down.
Okay, so stop, listen, push pause. And if this conversation is really resonating with you, go grab a pen and paper, because you're going to want to put these somewhere where you can see them on the daily. And let me tell you, you work on this for 30 to 60 days, you're going to be a totally different person.
And yes, it's the truth.
All right, let it rip, girl.
All right, so here's some questions you could ask yourself just in your time of reflection. How did I treat myself today? Okay, was it with self-respect? Was it with contempt? Did I show myself grace or judgment?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Okay, yes. Some days I would be, not that there's failure in this. Some days I would, yes, this would not be as pretty. How did I build myself up today? How did I tear myself down?
Mm-hmm.
Where did I show myself or practice dignity today? And then how did that make me feel? And with those questions, over time, it's going to build a habit of noticing and of honoring the good choices and choosing to live with more dignity, right? To live with more self-respect. And over time, the deep love that God has for us is going to penetrate into our minds, and it's going to reshape everything. It's going to take away deceptions and the guilt of sins and the mistakes and all of those things and all of the, I think, the trauma and the bad behavior that we let other project onto us. Like I say, oh my gosh, she literally just threw up on me and walked away. You know, like, you don't get to throw up on me. You know, like, you threw up, you walked away, you felt fine. Now I'm sitting here cleaning up the vomit.
Right.
Like, that's not living with self-respect.
Right.
Or dignity. And then, you know, just not giving up on yourself and on this challenge to live with dignity, because God never does.
That's right. I think this is so much to think about, but so many great things. People are probably going to uncover some kind of scripts that they're unaware of that they're playing in their mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're always there. And when we uncover one and we work through it, there's usually another.
Yeah.
Don't be discouraged. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Because we're always a work in progress until, you know, Jesus comes back.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, thanks for joining us this week on The Sinner and the Saint. Go out there and live with dignity.